Hi, someone owes me $200 from Tuesday. Which Tuesday? We didn't specify. It's awkward to ask now, so I've lost $30,000.
There are 5 big personality traits. Psychologists have been sorting people into them for half a century. How open you are, how organized, how outgoing, how anxious. And then this 5th one. Out of all 5, only one is consistently linked to money problems. Not anxiety, not laziness, not being a loner, kindness. And that is not the opinion of some channel that ran out of ideas. That is what came out of a study of more than 3 million people, including people whose actual bank records were pulled instead of their questionnaires. Coming up in this video, one number, 18%. And one fact I am still not comfortable with. They measured this trait in children, and it predicted their money problems 25 years later. And I am going to teach you a word. It is short. You know it. You just do not use it. Let us start with an inventory. Just today, a coworker asked you to take a quick look at something. You took a quick look. 40 minutes. That meditation app you opened exactly one time is still charging your card. Because when you try to cancel, a sad little face pops up and asks whether you are sure. You are not sure. A friend borrowed $200 until Tuesday. Which Tuesday, nobody specified, and bringing it up now would be awkward. And somewhere in your messages there is a text you have not sent in 3 days, because it needs to say, "This does not work for me," and you are still hunting for a softer way to put it. There is no softer way to put it. But you are hunting. And somewhere in that list is a number you have never added up, because adding it up feels petty. Hold on to that word, petty. We are coming back to it. Quick clarification, because nice is a slippery word. The trait we are talking about is called agreeableness. In everyday conversation, it sounds harmless. Somebody easy to be around, who does not argue, who is pleasant to work with. On a psychologist questionnaire, it means something a lot more specific. Trust people by default. Go along with things. Accommodate. Smooth it over. Put other people's comfort ahead of your own. Notice that not one item on that list says be kind. Every item says give in. And here is a beautiful piece of irony. When you ask people what they want most in someone they spend their time with, this is the trait they name. The most desirable one on the list. So the personality everybody wants in a friend is the same personality that turns up later in the savings column. The perfect friend and the person with money, going by the data, are not always the same guy. Being agreeable and being kind are 2 different things, glued together so tightly that you cannot tell them apart anymore. You were taught as a kid that the second one is the first one. Now the number. In 2012, a paper came out with a wonderful academic title. Do nice guys and gals really finish last? 4 large data sets. Around 10,000 working people, tracked across roughly 20 years. Men who scored low on agreeableness earned 18% more than the agreeable ones. In dollars at the time, that is close to $10,000 a year. One of the authors described it with a single word: a penalty. A penalty for being agreeable at work, and it showed up in all 4 data sets. Good word. They fine you for being soft. They just never mail you the ticket. One more detail from the same paper, and it is an uncomfortable one. The premium for being disagreeable was noticeably larger for men than for women. Women running the same hard-edged style did not get paid the same for it. So when somebody tells you to just toughen up, keep in mind that pill does not work the same on everybody. And this is where I thought I had the mechanism figured out. Right, agreeable people negotiate softer, so they get offered less. Makes sense. Same paper, separate experiment. People were handed descriptions of two candidates. Same experience, same accomplishments. The only difference was the wording about personality. Modest or immodest, accommodating or not so much. They recommended the second one more often. So it is not even about how you negotiate. You have not walked into the room yet. You have already been sorted by adjectives. But the most interesting part came later, in 2020, in the same journal. Two researchers, one at Columbia, one in London, set out to test the link between agreeableness and money properly. 7 studies. More than 3 million people in total. Online panels, a nationally representative survey, geographic data, and, this part matters, real bank account records. Not, how would you rate your savings? How much is actually sitting in there? The result. Out of the 5 big personality traits, agreeableness was the only one consistently tied to financial hardship. Less savings. More debt. More missed payments. The only one. Out of 5. And they were thorough about it. They ran the other 4 traits, not one of them holds up. They checked self-reports against real bank records, same picture. They checked Brits against Americans, same again. Usually at that kind of scale, pretty effects fall apart. This one did not. Then they did something elegant. They took 2 cities in Britain with roughly the same income per person. The difference between them was the average level of agreeableness among the people living there. The one where people were noticeably nicer had 50% more bankruptcies. 50% for being polite. A whole city chipped in. And now the part that made me want to do this video in the first place. One of those 7 studies was a long one. The same people followed for more than 25 years. Their agreeableness was measured when they were children, and it predicted their financial hardship as adults. Here is why that piece matters more than all the rest. With any of the others, you can argue about what came first. Maybe the money trouble shows up and the soft personality follows. Here, you cannot do that. The trait was measured first. The money was counted after. You cannot flip the order of events. That still does not make it a proven cause. The authors say so themselves, and I am not going to lie to you about it. But the arrow is pointing in an unpleasant direction. Now think about what that means. In 3rd grade, you got praised for this, held up as the example. Such a good kid, always shares. And nobody was lying to you. You really were a good kid. The bill just arrived 25 years later, and nobody wrote anything in the memo line. Now the mechanism. And here the researchers did something I respect them for. They tested the convenient explanation, and then they threw it out. The convenient explanation goes like this. Agreeable people negotiate softly, so they get handed less. Tidy. Everybody gets it. Half the articles online say exactly that. The data did not back it up. The real mechanism turned out to be something else, and a lot uglier. Agreeable people simply rate money as less important, not bad at asking. More like, figures there is not much worth asking about. Remember the word? Petty. You are not losing the negotiation. You never enter it, because somewhere in your head there is a setting that says people who count money out loud are a little unpleasant, and you decided not to be that person. Congratulations. You are not that person. Going by the numbers, that runs you about 18%. That word I promised, by the way. No, 2 letters, 1 syllable. Not a single difficult sound in it. People pick it up around age 2 and then somehow unlearn it, right around the time they start collecting a paycheck. You are excellent at saying no to an expensive vacuum. You can say no to an expensive vacation. You cannot say no to an expensive person. That is the whole thesis, honestly. But what comes next is the ugliest part of this. And that part you do not get to skip. The effect turned out to be uneven. It is noticeably stronger, and in some of the data only there at all, among people with low income. The logic is simple, and that is what makes it nasty. If you earn a lot, you can afford to be accommodating. You lend money and it does not come back. Annoying, not fatal. If things are tight, every sure, no problem gets subtracted from something real. One of the authors put it plainly. A soft personality carries a price, and the people paying most of it are the ones with nothing to cover it with, which leaves you with something that is hard to say out loud. A gentle personality is easier to afford when you already have money. The less money somebody has, the more their own kindness costs them. And right about here, you have already reached a conclusion. Got it. Time to become an asshole. No, and that is not a polite disclaimer stapled to the end. That is also from the data. That same paper from 2012 looked at more than salary. Agreeableness came out linked to higher life satisfaction, stronger social ties, less stress. The author's conclusion reads almost like literature. Even if disagreeable men win the earnings war, it looks like the victory gets paid for somewhere else. And the second detail everybody skips. Scoring low on agreeableness on these scales is not the same thing as being rude. Somebody low in agreeableness can be warm, pleasant, and completely decent. They just do not let people walk on them. So the goal is not to rebuild your personality. Your personality is fine. The problem is that it is switched on for everybody at once, including the people sending you a bill. 3 things. None of them involve buying anything. 1. This week, say no to something small, not important, minor, a request you would nod along to on autopilot. Say no and watch what happens. Spoiler, nothing. 2. Say a number out loud, once. Do not hint, do not add, but if that is too much, I totally understand. Just say the number and then stop talking. The silence after a number is not your job to fill. 3. Find one thing that is still charging you, still unpaid back, or still dragging on for years purely because closing it would be awkward. Put a dollar figure next to it. Do not cancel anything. Just look at the number. Then put that number in the comments. One number. That is it. I want to see what good manners are costing all of us.